Welcome to Nightmare Echoes. Listen closely, scream freely, and surrender your horror obsession. I'm your host, Elazar, and tonight Jesse is back to explore the twisted corridors of Hellbound Hellraiser II. How did Barbie Wilde come to be the new female Cenobite? What was Pinhead's name before he opened the box? And how does this sequel hold up against Clive Barker's original vision? If you dare to follow us, all our social links are in the description. Next week on the podcast, Megan. But until then, a film that drags you deeper into a nightmare of flesh, obsession, and suffering. Hello everybody and welcome back to Nightmare Echoes. I'm your host Elazar. I'm joined by my co-host Jesse. Jesse, how's it going?
Just hellicious.
Yeah. So that's a hint to what we're covering today, which is...
Hellraiser II.
Well, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2.
Oh, yeah, we gotta get
the whole title in there.
Yeah, okay.
Which is weird.
Don't forget the colon.
Right. Don't forget the colon. It's directed by Tony Rando, who was an uncredited editor on the first one. He did a lot of work on the first movie. And then written by Peter Atkins with help from Clive Barker. But Clive Barker was stepping down. He wanted to focus on a different movie that they did end up making, but not as fast as they thought they were going to make it. But he wanted to stick around to make sure that they really captured his vision of what he thought hell would feel like in there. Of course, we get Doug Bradley back as Pinhead, Ashley Lawrence back as Kirsty, and Claire Higgins back as Julia. So, if anybody hasn't seen this one, but has seen the first one, it pretty much picks up shortly after the other one and just continues the story.
It even does a whole flashback.
That's right.
It's almost like a previously on Hellraiser. You know,
yeah.
They tell you everything that happened in the last movie in a series of really quick cuts.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird, but if you're into two-parter, it can make as a solid long movie, if that's what we want to do, which is kind of cool. I don't know if the others do that, although, I mean, I guess they do kind of lead, like they do kind of end in a way to like let the next one happen. This one does that too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, yeah, the movie starts with this recap, but we're mostly going to skip it because we just covered the other one.
Yeah.
After these opening credits, we see Doug Bradley in human form. And while I don't remember the movie telling us at all, the Wikipedia lists his character as British military officer Elliot Spencer.
Yeah, okay.
He's sitting in a room where it's very hot because he's sweating like crazy. It looks like he's spending hours working on trying to figure out the puzzle box.
And it does seem like people always solve the puzzle box while sitting cross-legged in the middle of a large open dramatic space.
You're not wrong.
I mean, that seems to be, he's following that pattern. He seems to be in some sort of army temporary building with a lot of like storage space, and he's right in the center of it for some reason.
Yeah, and when he does open the box, of course, we get little hooks connected to chains that carve into his body, and then they start making sections in his head, then insert pins, and we see that he's become Pinhead.
And they hammer them in, too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had to hammer the pins in.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting.
They were just going to super glue them in place?
I didn't realize they were going into bone, I guess.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That deep.
I mean, I hope the actor's okay. He doesn't look scarred from it.
His loss.
His loss. Interesting, there's a character that did kind of scar himself in this movie. Now we see that Kirsty is back in the hospital, and she wakes up with tears in the hospital room, and there's a police officer ready to ask Kirsty some questions. She's told that she's now in a psychiatric hospital. When she asks about her boyfriend, Steve, the officer tells her that she doesn't need to worry about him because he's okay, but I feel like that's this movie's way of telling us we didn't care about the character to come back, so you shouldn't either. When she asks who the officer is, he tells her that he is Bronson and that he was just at her father's house. And it feels like a retcon to me because I thought we were supposed to believe that the house had all burned down in the last one, kind of like falling apart and destroying itself.
Yeah.
But in this one, the house is still together, and the officer went in there because that's how they find the mattress covered with maggots.
It's weird. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So we see these other officers in the house. They're going through. We have a body that kind of falls out of a wall. It scares the officer. Kirsty tells Bronson what had happened, but he says he doesn't want to hear any fairy tales. Right about then, the officers radio him to let them know they found another body, and the only non-human remains evidence that they found was a mattress. Bronson tells them to tag it and move it to evidence, but Kirsty tries to tell him that she thinks that's a bad idea.
If Kirsty wants credibility, she's going at this the wrong way.
Completely.
I mean, and I don't just mean the fact that she's saying all the supernatural stuff that obviously no one would believe, which,
right.
But more than that, in these early lines, she says things like, "So, you have a family, Mr. Bronson." And I'm like, what are you, Hannibal Lecter? Yeah. Like, you couldn't sound more like a serial killer if you tried.
That's funny. Then we cut to a room where Dr. Channard has a man who's alive, head open, and everybody's looking at his brain, and he's teaching young doctors about the open brain. When he's notified that Kirsty is awake, he invites Kyle to accompany him and just leaves this brain open. I don't know if someone else is just going to close it.
Well, I think that is the way they do it, surgery usually, right? They have someone, the real surgeon only does the real procedure, and they have lesser surgeons to do all the minor crap like opening them up and closing them up again.
But it didn't look like a procedure. It looked like, hey, we're just going to open this brain to teach you about it.
Yeah, that whole scene was very strange. The part that I thought was strange is like, why is he like reciting his manifesto? Like, What is this? Who opens up a skull and then recites a big poetic manifesto? And like, it was very strange. When later we see what a weirdo this doctor is, it makes more sense. But right in that scene, I'm like, this isn't a thing.
Yeah,
this is not a thing.
Peter Atkins does say in this special features, again, this Arrow release that I watched of this video, like 7 hours of special features at least. Peter Atkins, is the writer, says that he realizes at the time he didn't know a lot about medicine. And that the likelihood that this doctor would have been both a brain surgeon and a psychiatrist is highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But he does say that this guy thinks of him as a god, which I've heard surgeons have to do because they have to think they're not possible of making a mistake or they couldn't be able to do their job. But
I still think
it's hilarious.
It's over the top that he always speaks in like dramatic poetry and like at every scene, and you're like, what the heck is this guy?
So the actor turned down a role for a stage production of like King Richard or something. And he says he's very glad that he did it because no one remembers that production. But everybody remembers Hellraiser 2.
Yeah.
That he thinks it was a definitely good move. But that kind of explains that kind of actor that they hired to do this, right?
Well, I mean, even the writing, just the whole... But yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. But I mean, I think it kind of works later once we find out who the doctor is.
Yeah.
You can kind of, oh, he's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, he's crazy, right?
Okay.
When the doctor enters, Kirsty is trying to explain that they have to destroy this mattress. Since Julia died on it, that it's possible that it'll bring her back. Bronson leaves, but it's Dr. Channard who seems intrigued by this idea of this mattress. He leaves Kyle with Kirsty and goes to talk to Bronson. When Dr. Channard comes back, he tells Kirsty that he has to tend to other patients, but Kyle will give her something to sleep.
And in here, they keep doing more and more recap scenes from the original. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't too shocked that they had a recap at the beginning of the movie. I was a little surprised they kept having more recaps throughout the first part of the movie. Like,
yeah,
okay, you already did your recap. Let's move on with the new content now.
Yeah. We later cut to sometime in the night. She's having trouble sleeping. We see then a younger girl working on a puzzle box. Kirsty walks down the hall to look into her room. Right then, Kyle comes over and tells Kirsty about her. Tells her that she never speaks. She's been there for 6 months without a visitor, and the nurses have named her Tiffany. He then tries to offer her some pills to sleep, but she misunderstands and tells him that she's not crazy. But he's like, I was just trying to help you sleep. As she lays back down in the room itself starts to act weird. She sees a bloody body with writing on the wall that says, I'm in hell, please help. When then the body disappears, the words are still there. She gets up and tastes the blood.
Which is not a normal thing to do, I don't think.
Right, yeah. While this is going on, we cut back and forth to Tiffany, who's solving a block of puzzles, but not the puzzle box.
Right. Just regular puzzles.
Right. The next day, Dr. Channard is visiting his other patients, many of which who sleep in this long, big, bright, colorful room. He then goes down to another area where they have all these padded rooms, and he checks on different patients.
This scene is really interesting. So they go down, like this is like the basement level of the building, right? So it's
like a boiler room.
Yeah, like a boiler room, but the way it's shot, I feel like they're trying to make this sort of a hell on earth.
Yeah.
So the doctor has created his own hell in the bottom story of this building, essentially, to house the worst patients, and he seems perfectly at home with all of them screaming.
They make him happy.
Right. Like,
yeah.
If anything, I mean, I think it kind of sets up, like, man, this guy is in the wrong plane of reality. Like, he would be really happy down in the labyrinth, right? Like,
exactly. Yeah, so we get to one guy who is in a straitjacket yelling, get them off me, which becomes important later. Kirsty tells Kyle that her father visited last night, and when Kyle tells her that her father is dead, she says that yes, he's dead, but he's still suffering. Kyle goes to get Dr. Channard and overhears him asking for the bed to be delivered to his house, not the hospital. He waits until the call is over.
So weird. Like,
right?
At that point, I still didn't know what was going on with this guy, really. And that's just, what the heck?
Yeah. He calls him over to tell him to come see Kirsty. We cut to both of them talking to Kirsty. She recaps more events in the first film. And we get some footage that was cut for the first movie of the wedding day, which was filmed for the first movie, but they didn't use it.
Interesting.
And so now we get to use it in the second movie, which I think is a good use of footage.
It worked
pretty
well.
Cool. When she is finished, she asks if she is crazy, and Dr. Channard says that's a word they don't get to use much. We cut to Channard in his very nice house. He's pacing in his office with the mattress on the floor. Later that night, we see Kyle breaking into the office via a window to see the mattress. He notices weird jars and pictures on the wall. One of them is of the Lament configuration, which is our puzzle box. And then we see that he actually owns 3 of those puzzle boxes.
So apparently there's more than one.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
That surprised me because I thought it was a unique item, right? That the puzzle box guardian went and brought back and like...
Yeah, well, from what I'm told, there's a lot of puzzle box guardians.
Oh,
and each one guards their different puzzle boxes.
But apparently, I mean, does that mean he's got 3 guardians like under the floorboards of his house, like chained down or something so he can hold on to them?
Yeah, the only time we see any one of them is the very end of this movie for just a second. And I'll point it out when we get there.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was strange that he's able to have 3 of them when these things are clearly actively like monitored by supernatural forces.
Yeah, although I guess I would argue with the puzzle guardian only stepped up when someone was going to destroy it.
Okay, sure.
Right.
That makes sense.
I think they want people to own them so they can wreak havoc.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
All right.
I'll buy that.
So then Dr. Channard goes back to the area with the padded rooms, going towards the man that's screaming to get them off of him. Kyle then finds strange articles about alternative medicine, followed by a picture of the British military officer Elliot Spencer, then drawings of the puzzle box. While he's in the office, we hear a man yelling, "Get them off me," and he runs to hide behind a curtain, I think. But now Dr. Channard takes off the patient's straitjacket, and we could see under his skin he has all these scars and bleeding sores, and it looks like he's not being treated well at this hospital at all. Like no one's treating these wounds.
Yeah, either that or just he's been picking at himself whenever he has
even
the
straitjacket.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking like, has he been getting out of it one way or another?
Maybe.
Who knows? But yeah, it could just be they're not taking care of him.
So the doctor sits him down in the bed. Then he pulls out a straight razor for shaving. He hands it to the patient, and the patient proceeds to start cutting his own skin so he can get them all off of him.
It's important to point out the maggots are not really there. He's just imagining them.
Right, yeah. He's hallucinating these bugs everywhere that are on him, and he starts cutting his own skin to get off of him. And then once there's enough blood on this mattress, Julia's arms reach out, though she looks just the way Frank did in the last movie. She grabs him with all 4 limbs, and her head pokes out. He tries to jump off the mattress and crawl away, but she crawls after them and kills him and gets her like muscles and stuff back, kind of like Frank in the last movie.
Right, yep.
During all this, Kyle finds a way to escape without being noticed.
Barely.
Right?
Because when Julia's chasing the crazy guy, I mean, he almost pulls the curtain down. And it's nice.
And then Julia turns to Dr. Channard and asks for help. Yep. I do want to cut back real quick. The guy with the straight razor, they had like rounded it and dulled it a lot. And then all this was like, all the swords and stuff were like a layer on top of his body to make it. But they told him, don't cut too deep anyway. Like it's dull. We've dulled the blade, but don't cut too deep. But he still like scarred himself a little bit running this thing because he was like really into the character.
Wow.
And they said he did leave some marks on his body.
Interesting.
Which I thought was crazy.
That's kind of, I think Pinhead would approve.
Right. Okay. So then Julia the next day, she punches a mirror because she's pissed the way she looks. She says she's cold. They give a bunch of heaters and they give her a white suit to wear. It's got blood all over it now, so why did they choose white? I don't know.
They meaning Dr. Channard.
Right, sorry. Yeah, Dr. Channard. I'm talking about the crew.
Yeah.
Because the crew then wraps her in bandages to keep her warm, but I think it was done to save money on the makeup.
Probably, yeah, really.
Right. But interestingly, the woman that plays Julia when she's this muscle person, right? Or like the actor's very skinny, right? Just like the person that played Frank in the last one. because the costume designer didn't want to try to wrap the bandage the exact same way every day they were filming, she built a suit that she could pull up and it looked like bandages.
I see.
And she was wearing a white outfit underneath it, so it sold the idea. But then later when Julia has her skin back and she's wrapped in bandages, they actually wrapped her and they didn't have a suit and they wouldn't let her make one. And she had to struggle really to like get the bandages in the right place every day.
I see.
Even though it's a very short time. But it's interesting. And then this muscle gooey bandaged woman starts approaching Channard in a sexual manner, and then they start kissing.
And apparently he's into this.
Yeah.
Very unusual man.
Then we cut to Kirsty in the shower. When she gets out, Kyle is there waiting. She asks him what is wrong, and he says it's all true and they need to get her out of there. She goes for her clothes, but they're gone, so Kyle runs to grab some more.
She is surprisingly angry at her clothes being gone.
Yeah, I thought that too.
She is weirdly angry at this.
I thought it was crazy.
And I think that part of this is just an acting issue. I gotta be honest, I don't think she's that great of an actress.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people said in the special. That's like, it's a two-parter that came with both the Blu-rays, Leviathan, the story of Hellraiser 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. I think in total it's 4 hours of special features.
Oh, wow.
But they did say that it was her first job, and they gave her a good job. Interestingly, I think the director was trying to demand that the actress be more nude in the shower scene, and she put her foot down saying that she wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I don't know if it does or does not reflect the fact that she's not in part 3, but a lot of people said they really wish they could continue the story with Kirsty, but no one ever did. They did in a later sequel, but I do wonder if her being difficult, quote unquote, by refusing to do a nude scene had any effect on her getting a role in part 3.
I also think she's just not that interesting of a character. She's kind of a blank that things happen to. You know what I mean?
Sure.
She doesn't have that much personality.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, I mean,
I could see that. I still like her, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Once she does get clothes, he tells her that Channard has multiple puzzle boxes. She tells him she wants to go back to his house, and he says, "Are you crazy?" And she's like, "I don't know, Kyle. You're the fucking expert."
Yeah, why is she angry at him for listening to her?
I don't know, but I love that line.
Really?
You're the fucking expert. Because he works in an institution to help people with mental disabilities. Why would he say, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah, well, okay. Sure, but it's just... Yeah, okay.
Okay, but then in this next scene, it's pretty crazy. To speed the whole process that took the whole first movie to give Frank his body back, Dr. Channard obviously has access to a lot of patients, somehow without getting caught. He snuck over a ton of women to the attic in his own house.
Right.
And they're all tied up. There's definitely a bunch of nudity here. Some are already dead, some are still alive, some are completely decayed already because Julia's gotten to them. It doesn't take very long, but she just starts killing them all. And so when we cut away the bandages this time, we reveal that Julia's back with her whole skin.
And I like this little detail here that he uses medical safety scissors to cut off the bandages. I think that's kind of neat because, like, I like that they knew that was the thing enough to make sure to get medical safety scissors for that.
Yeah, just to cut the skin as you're cutting the bandages.
Right, just not just normal scissors. And of course, we have the obligatory thing where Julia has the ability to penetrate people's skulls, apparently with her hand with no effort. I don't know how that works, but...
I'm not sure either. She also got her own skin back, but Frank in the other movie had to steal Larry's skin.
Yes.
He couldn't get his own skin back. But the writers definitely wanted Julia to be, like, the way they put it, a new Freddy Krueger that they could bring back in multiple films. Although I don't think they do.
Yeah.
We see Dr. Channard leave, Kirsty and Kyle sneak into the house via the same window. Kirsty instantly wants to grab the cues, but Kyle says she shouldn't do anything until he checks on the house. He walks as if he's going into the room with the dead bodies, but then Julia stops him. He doesn't understand who she is, so when he goes in, she follows. Kirsty's looking through the doctor's documents and sees that same picture of the British military officer Elliot Spencer. Julia closes the door and asks if the room is terrifying. He acts as if she is going to comfort him, and when she tells him her name and starts to kiss him, he's dying.
Now, this is the part where she sticks her hands casually into his brain without any apparent skull in the way.
Superpowers. Kirsty seems to hear something and calls out for him, but takes the picture before she goes out to look. When she finds him dead, Julia says that she's been promoted from evil stepmother to evil queen, and she calls Kirsty Snow White. Kirsty lets out a scream and then goes in for the attack.
Like runs at her so stupidly.
Oh, yeah.
It's the dumbest scene, and then gets knocked out by one slap.
One slap.
Like,
I guess we've established the superpower that is Julia. Chenard comes back, says it's now his turn, and he has brought with him Tiffany. He sets her in his office on the floor with the puzzle box. The mattress is now gone. We see that the two of them are hiding behind a one-way mirror, getting ready to see what happens. As she starts to rub the cube, the walls start to creak. She seems to find the first move instantly.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. But the other thing, like, why couldn't he have done this any time? Why did he need to bring back Julia before having Puzzle Girl solve the cube?
Maybe he wanted insight into what hell was like before going there.
I suppose so. But then the other question is, I mean, Julia saw what happened. I think saw. She at least knows what happened to Frank.
Yeah.
Like, she's got to know it's a bad idea for her to be around the Cenobites after she just escaped hell. I mean, this is kind of explained later.
Wait, she didn't, though. Frank stabbed her and said nothing personal, babe, before the Cenobites got to him.
Okay. Well,
so she dies right before.
Perhaps. I mean, it was really explained anyway because they said that they let her out on purpose, right?
Yeah.
So it turns out. So she had nothing to be afraid of, I guess.
Right. So as she continues to solve the puzzle box, we have this crazy light show at the room. Everything starts to shatter, and two sections of the wall opens up and let the Cenobites that we know, Chatterer, Butterball, Deep Throat, although this time played by a different actress, and of course Pinhead. So the first actress had back problems, and she said that the makeup and all the prosthetics really hurt her back, and she said it was really painful. And this,
again, Pinhead would approve.
Right. And this new actress who played Deep Throat recalls how she got the job. But when she was auditioning, the director of this film said, "Do you know what a Cenobite is?" And she said, "A member of a religious order." And he goes, "No, it's a demon." And she goes, "No, but if you look it up in the dictionary, it's a member of a religious order." And he goes, "No, it's a word that Clive Barker made up." And she goes, "Do you have a dictionary?" And so he made his assistant director go running to get a dictionary. And he goes, "Sir, she's right. Cenobite is a member of a religious order." And he goes, "Dang it. Okay, you have the job."
Wow.
But she said she thinks he gave her the job because he knew it would be a painful one, and because she proved him wrong, he could cause her some pain.
Again, Pinhead would approve.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I think it's hilarious.
So, does she look similar? I mean, I didn't notice it was a different actress, so...
Her head might be a little rounder.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, well, later when we see her human form, that is not the actress that played her.
Okay, yeah.
Pinhead comes out with all the Cenobites. He says for them to wait, and they're all confused. And he says, "These hands call us, but it's not the hands that call us, it's the desire." And he could sense that Tiffany didn't want them. And we see that Julia and Chenard use a third passage that open up.
That didn't matter for Kirsty.
It didn't. You're not wrong. I wanted to say that so bad. It didn't matter.
Maybe they learned their lesson from her.
Maybe. So Julia and Dr. Chenard sneak into this third passage that open up to explore the Cenobites' world.
Why would they do that? I mean...
That was the whole plan.
Well, I know. Well, okay. I know why he wants to explore it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she wants to explore it.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think, even if her plan was to be brought... You would think she wouldn't want to go back regardless. But maybe she's more into it than
we think. Yeah. In the other room, Kirsty wakes up, goes to where Tiffany was sitting. She picks up the box and runs into hell. We see that Tiffany has also made her way into hell and has made it into a carnival-type area. We see images of a woman in a mirror house saying, "Help my daughter." And then we see a clown juggling his own eyeballs. We see an image of Tiffany's mom.
It's art.
Yeah. As she's being killed by Dr. Chenard so that he can keep Tiffany. Then we see a floating baby who has sewn his own mouth shut. Apparently this is supposed to be a Cenobite. I didn't get that.
Yeah, neither did I.
Baby Cenobite.
That's kind of funny that there are baby Cenobites.
Right. Then an evil-looking laugh happens before Tiffany moves into another area of the labyrinth. Kirsty seems to be lost instantly. She finds herself in a room that looks like her childhood home. There's a picture there of her family, but then blood starts to come over it. Then a picture she's holding of her mother turns into a picture of Julia. Then bugs join the party, which make her scream. Then the Cenobites show up. They are happy to see her. They thought they had lost her, but they're so glad that she came back. Kirsty tries to open the box again to use against him, but Pinhead points out, "How can you send us back if we're already here?" They take the lament configuration from her and transform it into an elongated diamond shape.
Which we later find out is a little doll of Leviathan.
Yeah, exactly. She tells them that she didn't open the box, and Deep Throat mocks her, saying, I didn't open the box. What was it last time? I didn't know what the box was. Pinhead adds that Christy is so eager to play, but she just won't admit it. She tells them she's come for her father, which makes them all laugh, because as they tell her, he's in his own hell and is quite unreachable. She says she doesn't believe them, tries to run for it, but one of the hooks on a chain shoots out, blocking her escape.
Come to think of it. Well, never mind.
I did want to talk about how the actor that played Larry was offered a role to come back in Hell, and he turned it down, saying he thought the character of Larry did nothing wrong, and there would be no reason why he was in Hell just because he was killed by a demon.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. Was why why did we never find him if the whole point was to go find him?
Right. So the writer figured that when he was limited by the story, he had to rewrite the story because in the story she was going to rescue him. That he realized later that figuring out who it really was sending that message to her, it fits that character better to have tricked her into it.
Because, like you said, it wouldn't make sense for him to be there.
Right. And that's what the actor thought too. So he turned down the role.
I think he was right.
Yeah. They tell her that it's her own hell and they can let her alone for a little bit because they have all of eternity to play with her. And then they tell her she's free to explore and they remove the chains and she runs for it. Julia and the doctor are walking around. Julia seems really happy to be there. The doctor looks really confused. They find a sex scene where there's 3 people connected to chains, although only looks like 2 of them are having sex. The other one kind of looks miserable to be there. As he's watching, the woman's face seems to change to Julia's, but then Julia pulls him away, saying that she has such sights to show him. Back to Kirsty running down corridors. She stops to rest, and Tiffany finds her. Kirsty tries to tell her to help get her back out of hell, but Tiffany shows no response either way. Because now that she knows her father's not there, she wants to get back out.
Yeah.
Julia and Chenard find themselves at this open sky labyrinth area. We zoom out. We see the same elongated shape, the diamond in the sky. The doctor exclaims, "Oh God," but Julia says no, that this is her God, the God of flesh, hunger, and desire, which is Leviathan, Lord of the Labyrinth.
And it is spinning.
It is spinning. Yeah, floating in air.
And I like how it's shining darkness instead of light.
Yeah, that's crazy. Then the Leviathan gets into Chenard's head, does a little flashback of all the evil he's ever done in his life, and it seems to overwhelm his head.
Yeah, whenever the beam of dark hits you, apparently it does that.
Okay, cool, yeah. Julia tells him that this is what he wanted, and he keeps getting more images in his head, causing him pain. As he asks for help, she asks why he thinks she was allowed to come back. We see this pillar come up from the side, opens a platform that they're on, and some sort of flesh design to grab a body. She tells him that Leviathan wanted souls, and she delivered. She pushes him in, saying that since it wanted souls and he wanted to know what hell was like, now everybody's happy.
It's ideal.
It's ideal, yeah. She tells him goodbye, and we see that he's being transformed into Cenobite. They use this thing that looks like wires wrapping into his head.
Yeah.
So they had these 2 bones that were connected by several wires, and it looked cool when it was going on, but then they realized that the length would vary as the bones came around, and so it would tighten too much on one part of the face and not another. So then they realized that it looked really good when it first started, but it didn't look good as it was coming around. So they made a second one, and they used thin pieces of elastic that they painted silver to look like wires, so it stretched across the face without causing pain to the real actor.
Pinhead would not approve.
He claims that he went through pain and has back trouble because of this movie.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Kirsty and Tiffany walk up to a door that looks like her father's house. Tiffany tries to tell her not to go in. Kirsty tells her that she will be back, and if she isn't soon, that Tiffany should just go home without her. Inside her house, it's more like a crypt with candles, and there's these sliding illuminated platforms with bodies on it moaning, which are slid in and out. As Kirsty removes one of the sheets from the body disappears. She finds some makeup on the table, along with a picture of Frank. The messages appear again. "I'm in hell, help me." Then one of the bodies slides out, but this time they're all bloody. Then we hear and see a switchblade, and Frank comes out, who reveals that he was the one saying he was trapped in hell, not her father. She tries to run, but he grabs her. Then we find out that the women who are moaning are there to tease Frank, that anytime he approaches them, they disappear, which is why this was a hell designed for him.
A little silly.
Well, he just wants to have sex all the time, and there's all these women, like, which would get him excited, but he can't touch them
Yeah.
and he can't see them. But yeah,
It's a little funny though.
you're saying it's not the worst hell that could exist.
Well, yeah, but also there's something just a little bit childish about the, oh, do you want it? No. Pull it back. Do you want it? No. Pull it back. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of silly.
Right. He says that's why he sent for her. She kisses him and then says if he doesn't hurt her, she will do anything. She walks over to the bed, takes up the sheet, then throws it over a candle, which sets the whole place aflame. The women on the bed start screaming as they're burning, and Frank is screaming as well. The picture of him burns, then it starts to peel his face while he's screaming, "Oh no, not my face!" And soon he's back to being flesh with no skin. Then the flames go out. We see that Julia is there, and she has found Tiffany. Frank says that he knew she would come back because she is a girl that always keeps her promises. She agrees that she does, but the way she says it, I don't think it means the same thing he thinks it means. He tells her to come and kiss him, and they will have a big family reunion. When she gets to him, instead of kissing him, she rips out his heart and then repeats the line that he said in the first movie, "Nothing personal, babe."
Yeah, I mean, I was like, how does he think she's going to be on his side after what he did?
He's just the kind of man that think women will do whatever he wants.
Evidently.
Kirsty grabs Tiffany and runs as the flames in the room start up again. On the run through the hallways, Kirsty trips and drops the elongated diamond shape, which is what the limit configuration is now. As they run to the next cross-section, Kirsty asks Tiffany which way, but then a door bursts open, revealing a tunnel which seems to be a vacuum and starts to suck them in one direction. As they struggle to hold on the wall, Julie walks up, who has now found the limit configuration. The music becomes epic as she goes back to get Dr. Chenard in his new Cenobite form, and the first words from him are, "And to think I hesitated."
Yeah.
He's so happy to be there.
Yeah.
An arm-looking thing with fingers and a drill out of its palm grabs his head and starts to drill in. And this helps him float the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
All the creators say to them it looked like a big penis. I never caught that. I just thought it looked like an arm holding him up.
Yeah, I don't think I picked up on that either, yeah.
Okay, which I thought was fascinating. They all laugh about it. But that's what they said. He said the harness that held him up really hurt to use. Any actors that are suspended by harnesses will tell you. And he spent a significant amount of this movie in pain.
Pinhead would approve.
But the writer says that he has made a ton of money over the years retelling the story, so I'm sure he's fine. Julia then walks up to Kirsty, who stands in a spot, I guess, where the suction won't affect her. Tells Kirsty that she can never hold on to anything for very long. Kirsty takes this moment to let go, but does it in a way that she can shove Julia into the vortex. All three of them are holding on, but Julia is now the furthest in the tunnel. Kirsty calls for Tiffany to reach out, but Tiffany, seeing Julia has the diamond, reaches for both Julia and Kirsty, forming a chain. Julia smiles, but then her skin starts to rip in the back. Soon, her bloody muscle body is thrown into the tunnel, but her skin is left behind. Tiffany looks down to see that she's still holding the skin and drops it, and for some reason doesn't grab the diamond.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she doesn't know it has any value yet.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, she doesn't know it's that cube.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, she knows it's the cube. She saw
does?
them transform it.
Okay.
But she didn't. I mean, it has no power here, right? So
Yeah.
what's its value?
Right. They both start to run again. They find themselves back at the hospital. Kirsty sits on the bed and starts to cry for her father, saying that she is sorry that she was unable to save him. At the same time, Tiffany's looking at the ground like she doesn't trust her environment. Goes over to try and console Kirsty, who takes her in a big hug. They go to leave the hospital, and outside the sky starts to grow dark. They get to the room with all of Dr. Chenard's patients, but they're all there holding puzzle boxes of their own, and some of them already have hooks into their patients. Then Dr. Chenard comes floating in the room with a big tentacle arm thing holding him up, and I guess all these puzzle boxes opened a door there for him because they're working on open doors for hell themselves. I don't know how the door opened there. I'm not sure.
I was a little confused as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he says the doctor is in, which is what I say every time I open a Dr. Pepper. And I don't think I'm quoting the movie when I say it, but...
It's probably a Dr. Pepper commercial that says something like that, right?
Yeah. Then Tiffany, 78 minutes into this movie, comically says her first words, which are, "Oh, shit."
You were waiting. They got you waiting the whole movie. Like there's going to be some dramatic, touching moment where her core insecurity is revealed and cured, and she says something beautiful for the first time. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. You get, "Oh, shit." Which I think really summarizes the tone of this movie.
It's like the first time Data cussed, you know, as the ship's crashing.
Well, it is, except I feel like there's more of a setup of like, this should be some sort of touching scene of her finally overcoming trauma, and it's totally not. It's just stupid.
That's funny. Yeah. Kirsty and Tiffany run, and Dr. Channard starts growing limbs with knives on it, and he looks at one patient and he says, I'm afraid I'm going to have to amputate. Kirsty and Tiffany find themselves in a room which is much like the attic from the first one, where torture columns and chains are everywhere, and of course so are 4 Cenobites. Pinhead comments that there are no boxes this time. Deep Throat tells her, no more delays, no more teasing, it's time to play. But Kirsty always has a plan. Pinhead says no deals, and she agrees. There's no deals, she just wants to give them information. Pinhead agrees, but says if he tricks her again, her suffering will be legendary, even in hell. She shows him the picture, and he thinks, is this someone who's escaped? And she says, no, it's someone that never got away, and it's you. And I really thought that is the moment where, like, okay, she is a little bit of a bad actor. Yeah. Like, there's no dramatic there at all. They're like, it's a picture of someone that didn't escape, and it's you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Deep Throat doesn't want to hear any of this, but Pinhead tells Deep Throat to wait. Then Pinhead starts to remember and tells them all that they were all once human. Did they remember a moment of time when they were confused, when they didn't understand what was going on? It's because they were just transformed.
I don't understand why just knowing they were human...
weaken them enough?
Why does that make them want to help her? I mean, the doctor, he was just human. He certainly remembers it. He keeps referencing it.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make him not a Cenobite.
I don't know. While the Cenobites are remembering, Dr. Channard shows up for Tiffany. One of the many growing tentacles has a human finger, which props out and gestures for her to come to him. Then it looks like the 4 Cenobites want to stop him, and he's excited for a fight. Pinhead starts to summon chains to hold him, and then he screams in pain, but then tentacles with surgical knives come out and cut the chains.
I didn't know knives could cut chains, but okay.
Surgical knives, sir.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Channard then throws a blade at Deep Throat right in her opening of her throat, which hits her to the ground. She turns human, although, like I said, the actress that hit the floor was not the actress that played her, and the woman was like, who's that pretty girl? like that's not me. Then Butterball and Chatterer are killed next, and they both revert to their human selves. Channard states that he's taking over this operation, and the girls will be his first patients. His hands start to form these bluey glow, and he zaps Pinhead repeatedly, and each time Pinhead gets a little bit more human until he becomes Elliot Spencer. Elliot and Christy share a smile and a nod, then Channard slashes Elliot's throat, so Pinhead has just been killed in the second movie.
And Pinhead looks so unmenacing in human form. It's disappointing.
Yeah.
And it's also just, I really hate this cliche of, you must be somehow controlled or a monster in order to be evil. You can't, so if you just return to your human form, everyone is good. No.
Sure. I guess I see what you're saying, but Channard was evil as a human anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, freaking, all the Cenobites turned happy and they were actually just good, innocent people. Okay, then why were they in the labyrinth at all?
Right. Okay. What I want to point out here, too, is that they listened to feedback of people. They were like, the Cenobites were barely in the first movie. Give us more Cenobites.
Right.
And so they gave us not only more Cenobite time, but they also showed us the Cenobite world. But then you took all these characters that people wanted to see and then just killed them off with a new Cenobite. It was a little like, wait, what'd you do?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I didn't like that.
Now, some of them, obviously Pinhead returns in every movie. I think some of them might return in other forms played by different actors in other movies down the road, but it's just weird that that's the choice that they made in this movie.
It is.
Tiffany, who can now speak, tells Christy that she needs to get back to finish the puzzle because when they remember, they all got better. While Kirsty is chasing after her, Tiffany runs to where the door was in the room where they came back through, and the door opens. Tiffany runs and finds Julia's skin and recovers the diamond, all while Kirsty is trying to ask what she's doing. They make their way back out to the floating Leviathan. As Tiffany approaches Leviathan, she starts to bring memories of her life before the hospital and a memory of Channard killing her mother. Kirsty then tells her that she understands that it's a puzzle, and Tiffany starts to try to solve it. Then Channard shows up. Kirsty tries to save her by pushing her out of the way, which pushes the puzzle box away, but luckily not off the platform. Channard asks, how are you feeling today? And I wrote, well, at least he has good bedside manner.
Yeah.
He says that Tiffany has her whole life behind her, and it's a shame that he doesn't have any anesthesia on hand. Kirsty then looks in the back of the hallway they came from and runs away. Gennard tells Tiffany that surgery is open, and on today's agenda is evisceration.
He has too many of these, like, lines.
They're all cheesy
lines.
doctor
Yeah.
lines. Yeah.
I mean, I could understand one or two, but I think they overdid it.
Yeah, they did it. They did. His tentacles grow many more knives, and then a platform like the one that transformed him comes up, and out of it comes Julia. Julia grabs Tiffany, but then goes to Gennard. He says he knew she would come back, and they start to kiss. Tiffany uses the moment to grab the lament configuration and starts to solve it in record time. Gennard is not very happy that she solved it and starts to attack Tiffany. The tentacle knives miss Tiffany and hit the platform, and as the Leviathan is being affected by the solved cube, Gennard starts to shake. The arm that connects to his head rips his head into two pieces at the middle of the mouth.
That's convenient.
And he is killed. Then maybe because she is scared, Tiffany accidentally backs off the platform, which I'm like, what? But she's able to catch herself with her hands. Julia's jaw seems to drop to the floor at this point. Like, look. How stupid was that?
Yeah.
And then she bends down to extend her hand and says, trust me, although the voice that's coming out is not the voice of Julia. Tiffany pulls herself up enough to grab Julia's hand, and we see the orange start to rip at the skin. As the skin falls off, Tiffany quickly grabs the hand that was underneath the skin. The skin that's fallen is zapped in some kind of electricity as it's falling. Now, looking all bloody, Julia starts to peel off the skin from her body to reveal that it was Kirsty, who ran back to get Julia's skin to trick Gennard.
Which is a pretty metal plan.
Yeah. And then they hug each other and they start on their way back, but not before Tiffany turns back and looks at Leviathan, which starts reverting back. Leviathan starts shooting electricity all out and they're running, and I'm so surprised that they don't get zapped because there's so many balls of electricity. There's no way they all miss them. Mm-hmm. They run to the hospital and the wall is closing. The room is getting shredded by all the electricity. And they make it back just as Leviathan turns back into the puzzle box. The door's closed and they made it out right in time. At this point, I noticed that Kirsty is still wearing Julia's dress. And since her skin was under that dress and she only ripped off her head, is she still wearing the skin under that dress? Because it's very form-fitting.
That's an interesting question.
I think she is. Yeah. We then transition to the room with all the puzzle boxes. There are reefs on all of them, which signify that all those patients were killed. And this is how we're remembering them. Then we see Kirsty and Tiffany outside dressed very businesslike, and they walk away from the hospital. I didn't get that at all. Yeah. Like why they dressed really nice together. I didn't. Then we cut to Gennard's house. Movers are packing up the house again. The one young guy from the first movie, played by Oliver Parker, is back again in this movie. He walks up to the room with the mattress, and he is sucked in. The other moving guy arrives to witness this mysterious pillar rising from within. It had many faces on it. One is of Pinhead, which is played by one of the crew. It wasn't Doug Bradley in this Pinhead face. We see the baby that sewed his lips shut. And then one of the faces on the pillar is the vagrant puzzle guardian from the previous film. He looks at the man who's witnessing this and asks, "What's your pleasure, sir?"
That's a really weird ending. I didn't know what to make of that ending. It's very strange. Yeah. On the whole, I would say that I felt like this one was cornier than the first one.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wasn't crazy about the acting. It was weird. But I will say, what I did like about it was I really liked getting to see the labyrinth. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't done to the level of like the labyrinth in the movie Labyrinth or anything.
Right.
But, I mean, it was still cool. I mean, they did a good job at least rendering the labyrinth in some form. I enjoyed seeing it. I thought it was neat. And to me, it just seemed like a paradise. You know, I think I would love to live there. And, you know, you never get lonely.
I wouldn't know how you would be eating.
Well, you wouldn't, right? Unless you eat other people, maybe.
Yeah.
But, like, you could always go to the roof and hang out with Spinny Guy. And, I mean, it's great.
Sure. I get what you're saying. Some things I learned from that special. There was a critic named Barry Norman who gave them a really bad review on the first Hellraiser movie. Uh-huh. And they invited him onto the set. Doug Bradley came out in his full Pinhead makeup and scared the crap out of him. And then they brought him into a room where the writer and director of this movie sat him down and asked him why he gave it such a bad review. And they got him to admit that it was based solely on the fact that it was a horror movie and he doesn't like horror movies.
Well, that's stupid.
Right. And they told him, your job is not to judge a movie based on a genre. It's to give people an honest opinion of the movie. And from then on, he didn't give a bad review for bad review's sake on the Hellraiser movies. And they actually show a clip in the special of him saying, while it's not my cup of tea, I do think it's shot beautifully well, and he gives some compliments of the movie.
I see.
But I think they scared him out of ever giving a bad review for no reason.
That is funny.
Which is pretty crazy. The scriptwriter and the director both argue of the idea of who came up with the Cenobites were once human. And as they get older, neither of them are really sure anymore of who came up with the idea. But they both believe they did it.
Yeah.
Channard in the first draft was named Mallard, and the screenwriter Peter Atkins said he wanted Mallard because it meant bad skin. He had stole it from another movie that had something similar.
Mallard means duck, doesn't it?
I don't
How's
know.
it spelled?
I wrote it two different ways, so I'm not sure actually.
Okay, never mind then.
But then Tony Randall's the one that suggested Channard, since Christian Barnard, if you combine those to Channard, was the first doctor who performed the first heart transplant. So he thought that this doctor would think of himself as God, and therefore someone that's close enough to someone with that credibility.
I thought they were implying that performing the first heart transplant is like such an evil thing to do.
No. They're saying that he thought he was like just the shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
He maybe without the.
Right. There's a scene that the actor that plays Chatterer remembers filming, in which they show him transformed from the way he looked in the first movie to the way he looks in this movie. But there are some scenes where Chatterer looks like the way he looked in the first movie, and that at a certain point in the film, he looks like this new way where he actually has eye holes and he actually can see. The director himself does not remember filming this scene. He remembers it being in the script. Chatterer, the actor, does remember filming it, but says he thinks he just screwed up the scene so badly that no one wanted to keep it. And he says if it ever does surface, people will know, okay, it's not that great. Similar note, there is a deleted scene that they filmed where Douglas Bradley and the woman that played Deep Throat, Barbie Wilde, were dressed up as doctors and then transformed into their Cenobite outfit, still wearing the doctor suit, in the surgery scene where they were pretending to do surgery. It was cut, and fans to this day have wanted to see it, and they say, trust me, if you see it, you'd be like, okay, that scene sucked. I understand why they cut it. So that's why it's not there for people to see.
Yeah.
Is what they said. But it's hilarious that like people have always like, we heard there's a scene where Pinhead and Deep Throat are surgeons. Like, why didn't we get to see that? And it's like, because it really sucked.
Yeah, I mean, deleted scenes, I suppose, are usually deleted for a reason.
Yeah, and I've heard different critics say that sometimes when director's cuts come out and there's like 20 minutes of footage put in just for the sake of putting it in, you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. We have episodes every Monday. Thank you, Jesse, for being here.
See you in the labyrinth.
Oh, ooh. All right. Bye.